Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can, spins a web any size.
You saw the title of this video, you know what this is about. The character of Spider-Man means a lot to me. His relatability as a high school student struggling to manage pressure in his social life, and the sheer determination at the prospect of death. And when it came to Spider-Man No Way Home, I was excited beyond belief. And being in that theater, seeing all these people screaming out other Spider-Man's names made me wonder, how the fuck could they top this? Brand New Day marks a huge shift for the character in the MCU. From his early days of being treated as Iron's successor and in many ways lesser, his portrayal has been a major shift from his street-level hero work. But now, we can return to that and write a story that challenges Peter in new ways that we couldn't have before. And this pre-write aims to do just that, challenge Peter's selflessness with a new threat or two. This takes place 4 years after No Way Home, so we're looking at a relatively seasoned Spider-Man. With that being said, let's begin. Peter has been Spider-Man for 4 years, being well regarded as New York's #1 hero. We cut to Spider-Man taking down a tank with an inner demons member inside. He manages to save pedestrians from being driven over multiple times and eventually takes down the tank. We cut to a montage of Spider-Man taking down various low-tier villains with ease. Meanwhile, Peter Parker is struggling and lonely. He has a low-paying job at the Deadly, struggles to pay bills, and has zero social life. He drowns himself in his work as a superhero to avoid his harsh reality. We cut to Damage Control's prison. Desks are filled with files of various superpowered individuals: Simon Williams, Matt Gargan, Tanny Bowen, and another person hidden by the angle of the camera. We pan up to William Metzger. I know that's a Severance guy, he's important for later, but you don't need to Google him or anything, just watch the video. William holds up Matt Gargan's file and walks into a cell. Multiple of the villains from the montage are seen bashing the walls of their cells in protest. William walks towards his cell. William offers Dolores a sentence as long as he does a favor for Damage Control. Mac responds with gladly. Peter walks into his apartment. He started to rebuild the Lego Death Star again, only for it to fall onto the floor. He eventually decides to just get some sleep. 2 a.m. His police scanner starts to make some noise. A building has been filled with various henchmen, all led by the Scorpion. Peter ignores it. We cut to Peter swinging across New York and towards the building. And that's Act 1. Off the bat, we were already leaning into Peter's anguish after the end of No Way Home and setting up the Scorpion as the main villain of it all. And honestly, having to put up all these pieces together to make a cohesive story is literally the hardest part of my entire pre-writing history. If it were up to me, Jean Grey and Hulk wouldn't be in this. I just want to mention that, okay? And if it gets a little bit out of the street level, then blame Sony, okay? Not me. But whatever. Time for Act 2. That's supposed to say flies, not fools or fuse, whatever. Peter shows up to the building, only to find Frank violently beating the henchman. That does not sound right, what the fuck? Peter manages to stop Frank from brutalizing any more people. Frank says that there's a young girl these psychos are after, and he's trying to help her. Peter and Frank manage to get to the highest floor of the building. Peter uses stealth to web and take out various henchmen, as Frank just goes balls to the walls with his weaponry. When Peter finds the young girl, his senses go off, alerting him that over 20 guns are aimed directly at them. The three hold their hands up, but the young girl manages to take out all 20 of them with one blast of fire. These two are left speechless at the sheer display of power. The young girl looks behind her back to see Peter. She runs away immediately, only for Peter to manage to catch up to her. Peter asks for her name. Jean, she replies, as if that wasn't fucking obvious from the PNG. Peter asks why she's being chased by all these people. At a young age, she demonstrated astonishing feats with her abilities, but only to the dismay of her parents. She was kicked out of her home, and she's been living on her own ever since, in which she was put on Damage Control's list of dangerous enhanced people. Peter shows his sympathy, and tries to relate to his current situation, having to rely only upon yourself and no one else. She rejects this idea, and says the two are nothing alike. Peter is publicly adored, as Jean is unable to even be seen anywhere. Peter stays silent. Jean runs away. Peter goes into an alleyway, only to be suddenly caught off guard by Mac Gargan, who nearly kills Peter. He says he's wanted to settle the score for years now. He feels a perverse sense of satisfaction of finally being able to get the upper hand on him. He's beaten to a bloody pulp and is left there. 1 week passes. Peter wakes up to find himself in a cocoon. His wounds are healed, and for some reason he's able to create web from his wrists rather than his web shooters. He falls to the ground and breaks his back. Ha! A callback! Ah!
My back! Oh, my back!
Peter goes to the only person smart enough to figure out his predicament, Bruce Banner. Bruce is initially hesitant as he doesn't recognize him at all, but for some reason, he seems vaguely familiar. Peter then learns throughout the years that his powers have multiplied with each quote-unquote death. From when he got snapped in Infinity War to now, Peter sits atop of a rooftop, processing the revelation. He then spots dozens of Damage Control vehicles driving by. They are seemingly carrying a highly dangerous prisoner. Peter manages to bring inside, only to see William Metzger. He's surprised at the fact that Peter's even alive, but tries to fight him nonetheless. He fails miserably. Peter checks the device he was carrying around. It says Jean was captured within the week he was unconscious. Now knowing of Jean's whereabouts, Peter plans a break-in. Okay, so this is obviously going incredibly quickly. In a real movie, obviously there'd be more character-driven moments and whatnot, but for the sake of the pre-write and Soup saying the trailer comes out next week, I need to rush this. If I had more time, I'd show a scene where he's trying to make the suit out of the inspirations from his multiversal friends and try to add more onto Jean and Peter's dynamic. I desperately need Jean to act exactly like she does in this panel throughout the entire movie. She's been living on her own for a while now, so it's only natural. So anyways, time for the incredibly rushed Act 3 of Spider-Man Brand New Day. We cut to William at damage control with a bandage over his nose after his brief encounter with Spider-Man. Matt Gargan is infuriated by the news. He knows that catching Peter off guard again would be practically impossible. His senses are sharp. He needs a way to get a person more powerful than Peter to fight him. He takes note of the scientist studying Jean's brainwaves and her ability to enter other people's consciousness, and begins to form a plan. Peter barges into damage control's prison, silently taking out guards. By the time he makes it to the main console room, he finds Matt Gargan standing there with an abnormally confident smile on his face. Peter asks what room Jean's being hidden in. Mac acts clueless. Peter warns Mac of his newfound strength, saying it won't go the same way it went last time. Mac says he has nothing to worry about, and that he won't be the one fighting him this time. As Hulk bursts through the walls of the prison, Mac used Jean's mental manipulation to cause Banner to go on a rampage. He breaks open dozens of the cells, freeing various villains Peter fought throughout the years to be freed. Jean suddenly wakes up. Peter tries to take Hulk down, but to no avail. The entire prison is torn apart. Peter, already hurt from his encounter with Hulk, is being surrounded by every villain he's faced. But even at the sight of death, he remains relentless. He manages to take down nearly all the villains, as the dying words of Aunt May pounded through his head. Most, if not all, the villains are defeated. Peter stands among the wreckage, exhausted and barely even awake. But there's still one tiny problem. Hulk spots Peter and attacks him. Peter's thrown around like a rag doll amongst the remains of the prison. Hulk is about to kill Peter until Peter's mask falls off, seeing the person he remembers fighting Thanos. Jean walks near the Hulk and begins to calm him down with her abilities. The three see William Metzger trying to call for backup. Hulk grabs him by the leg and flails him around, reminiscent of his encounter with Loki. Peter and Jean climb upon Hulk's back and then jump away, back home. 2 weeks later, he's finally meeting new people at his college, finally accepting the grief he feels of losing all the people he loved, and learning a singular, valuable lesson. He visits Aunt May's grave, as we hear a monologue from Peter. Being Spider-Man is far from a rewarding job. He's constantly on the brink of death, constantly exhausted, and struggles to manage his social life. But seeing the face of that one kid, that one person looking up to see a man swing across the city and feeling inspired, and saying to themselves, if one man can do all that, then I can do anything, makes it feel worth the pain. So yeah, that's Brand New Day. I know Jean didn't do much, but I'm saving that for an inevitable X-Men pre-write I do a year from now. Thank you so much for watching. This video took a lot out of me.